So these are the basic requirements that we need to facilitate. Let's validate if all of these are there one by one. So we have Eclipse available in my system, and you should also be having it as part of your Selenium sessions. Yep, the Eclipse is working fine in my system. We need JDK, which on my Mac machine, I'm going to get onto terminal to check on the version of it. But on your Windows, you can just get into command prompt. So I have JDK version 18 connected to. That's well and good. So you can just use Java version or normally Java uppercase V, or I think lowercase v. No, that doesn't work. Java version will only work. Java space hyphen version will let you know what version of Java is connected to in the system. Normally those are the JDKs which you will have it connected. So once you have these available, next thing we need is the APM server to be set up, for which the official web page is apm.io. apm.io is the official web page. So you can just get on over here, and on this web page we will go through the installation process, where you can just choose install APM. This is available as a node installation. Let me just check out the actual download setup. Okay, APM server is only a node server as of now. Earlier we used to have a Windows setup. So you will need Node.js to be installed as well. So you can just go to node.js and you can download and set up the latest stable version. It's nodejs.org, where you will be having the latest stable version as 18.16. You can just download and set up that based on your operating system. So this most of you might not be having. I'll give you some time space where you can get this downloaded and set it up. So any challenges in getting this set up, you can let me know. Under apm.io, you can get into apm requirements and you can see the list of requirements what it has. So installing node itself will get you the npm as well installed. So any queries or clarifications till this point, you can get it clarified.
So hi, Rajan. I have a question. Like, I have a Mac machine. So should I
Okay.
be installing the Mac installer, right? Like, because you told I have to take the virtual
Yeah.
uh, Android.
Yes. So you'll have to be just setting up the macOS version of npm first. That's the
Okay.
primary requirement. And when we get onto the driver level, we
Okay.
can do the Android setup and all that. So
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
yeah.
Hi Narration. Which one we need to download? The 18 version or the 20th one for
18.
Node 18?
Yeah, 18 should be fine.
Thank you.
Natarajan, Nisha here.
Yeah.
So when I want to download this thing in my mobile, like Android device, which one should I use?
Not on your Android device. So it's basically things that you need to do it on your system.
Okay, so I definitely need a MacBook, or else you said like I could
Windows
take
you
a.
can. But with Windows, you will need an Android device to be automating at a future point in time. I mean, when we connect device and automate on the device, you need an Android device. Windows you
Okay.
can.
Oh, now I can do this in the Windows as of now,
Yes,
like
these
what
are
you're
system
doing.
level setup. Yeah. These has
Uh,
nothing to do on mobile. These are system level setup. So whatever the machine is, you can do all these. But when you're automating the codes and executing the test automation, you need an Android device.
oh, got it. Now only I understood. Thank you so much.
Yeah. So just have the node installed, then we'll move forward. The command npm hyphen npm hyphen g, that is npm install global apm at rate next. So this will take care of installing the latest version of apm as a global server in your system. You can get all these as instructions from the apm web page, where if you just get into install apm, you will be having the instruction available. This is what I use to set up apm. This will keep changing as we go across various versions. This might have one more major update coming in anytime. This is not a stable environment. This is an open source tool. Everyone will have their own innovation. And now that AI is dominating the industry, artificial intelligence is dominating the industry, they might come up with one more major version which has AI integrated into the memory and all that. That can come in anytime soon. In that case, the installation might vary a bit. So that's the reason why I am not well prepared before I start with the session, because I know where to get the information from, where the official documentations would be, what I can follow without any prior experience or practice. So this is one of it, where if you get on here, you follow these instructions, you will be able to just do the execution as is. They will be having quick start guides available with some sample programs into it. All of it are things that you can do in order to just get started with the execution. So this is something that you can look into anytime for any version that you wanted to get started with mobile testing. Let's say 1 year down the line, you get an opportunity into mobile testing. Now you get an opportunity just into automation. And 1 year down the line, you get a requirement to start with mobile testing. At that time, whatever I train now, even if you go through the video, you'll not be able to reproduce because the versions might have got changed. There might have been some updates, modifications, deprecations, etc. So these are the official sources what you'll have to rely on whenever you get started with something. So because of access restriction, I am just accessing the device as an administrator using sudo. On Windows, you can just simply run npm i-g apm@next. On Mac as well, you can run the same, but if you get any access restrictions, you can use sudo and you can provide your master password or the admin password, and then you can just let it run as an administrator. In Windows, if you get any access restriction, just right click on the command prompt from the start menu and choose run as administrator, and then you can execute all these. So this will make sure APM is set up as a global package in your system.
Nataraj, it would be great if you can ping me the commands. The commands.
You have it already available on the APM site. So you can just get into APM and go through apm.io and go through install APM. You'll be having it there ready.
Okay. Okay.
So once you're done with that setup, you can get back into quick start intro. It will have list of activities that you might have to do. First, you will have to install APM, which we did just now. Then you'll have to go through installing a driver and its dependencies. So UI Automated 2 driver is what we are going to be utilizing here. That's going to be Android driver, basically. So it is an Android driver. The requirements for using UI Automated 2 are, as I have told you, any of these operating system and the Android SDK platform tools. Whereas I have told you, it's going to be using Android Studio IDE as a convenient UI to install and manage the tools. So you can go through this Android Studio IDE. So it's like chain of activities. In order to do APM, you need UI Automated 2 driver. In order to do UI Automated 2 driver, you need all these to be available in your system. So it just gets back to what I have listed earlier. Eclipse, JDK, NPM is something which we did in between. Earlier, without NPM, we had APM as a Windows-based GUI as well, where in Windows you can directly install it and then utilize it. But now that is not available, only through Node package it's available. So we need NPM, we have set up APM, and we need the drivers, which is going to be based on whatever device you are going to automate, the corresponding drivers are needed. If you are going to automate it on Android, you need UI Automated 2 driver. If you're going to automate it on iOS, iOS, you need XCUI test driver, which should be part of Xcode software that is available in the Apple Store. So based on drivers, we will need the Android SDKs to be set up. So these are the ultimate requirements which we will need. So any queries or clarifications till this point? Okay. So we have got NPM and APM setup. Next, we will have to be going on with the Android SDK platform tool setup, which is like the Android Studio. So you can Google for Android Studio. You'll be getting onto this URL, that is developer.android.com/studio. And once you're on this URL, you can just download the Android Studio as per whatever version is there. Flamingo is the latest version. You can get that downloaded. Why is it not getting downloaded? This should have got it downloaded. What happened? Let me make sure there are no downloads running through. No, downloads are not running through. Okay. There is some problem with respect to this screen over there. It's about a 1 GB download. You can get on to apm.io quickstart and see through what else is needed. So we are yet to install the driver. We are just downloading Android now. Under quickstart intro, under UI automated to driver, you can see the list of requirements, which are like basically the driver connected. So Android SDK platform tool is something which we need. Android home, Android SDK root are things that need to be configured. Java JDK or Java home need to be configured. Emulator platform image must be installed if we plan to do it on the emulators, which we will do once the Android Studio is set up. Real Android devices must have USB debugging enabled, so that I'll guide you through on how to enable USB debugging. Minimum version of Android API must be 5.0, API level 21. 6.0 is recommended as version 5 has some known compatibility issue. So Android 6.0 and above is what is going to be working. I think that's KitKat or something. So Android version above 6.0 is only going to be working on the mobile devices. If you have a too old device, too old tab, which is of version 4 or 5, it might not work that great. So the requirements for the driver are all satisfied. Now we'll just go through driver installation. Driver installation is going to be achieved with this command. Once the requirements for the drivers are all satisfied, you can pass on this command into your command prompt to get the driver set up and running. Go through the setup. So the setup is going to get you a screen of this sort where you can just simply drag and drop and initiate the setup. There seems to be an Android Studio already available in my machine, but I'm trying to replace it. So once you launch your Android Studio, it'll just ask you for settings and configurations to be imported from previous version, if any, or you can go with do not import settings if you want to set this up all together as a new component. So into that, you will be having something termed as Virtual Device Manager and SDK Manager. Once you launch your Android Studio, on this screen, under More Actions or at the right side bottom, you will be having Configure option available, Edit Configuration option and all that available. When you just click on that drop down, you will have SDK Manager and Virtual Device Manager. Those are things which will get you the information of what can be put into the SDK home or Android home component. So this is what you're supposed to be storing it into SDK home. Sorry, Android home. Android SDK location is what we need to store into SDK or Android home. So any queries or clarifications till this point? So all that we'll have to be doing is under quick start intro UI automation 2 driver. we'll be dealing with virtual device managers if you are on Mac machine and do not have a Android device. If you are on a Mac machine and you do not have an Android device, we can deal with this virtual device manager. So here you can just go with create device and you can choose the Android version with which you wanted to create the device. You can download the software and all that for the device. You can go through all the basic setup if you are going to be dealing with the virtual devices. So any queries or